It's time for you to win. Today, my guest is Putera Camaro, and we talk about the secrets behind building a winning continuous improvement culture. Welcome to the program. My name is Gary Cox. This is Mic Drop Insights and Lessons from CI Thought Leaders. I am your host. I'm also the author of the book, Cultivating Champions of CI, a leader's toolbox for creating a continuous improvement culture. Putera has some experiences he wants to share with you, and I'm excited to bring them to you. Let's jump right to it. Excited about my guest today. I met him through LinkedIn. I saw a couple of his video posts and thought, okay, I got to have a chat with this guy. His name is Putera Camaro, and he's a pretty exciting guy, and I'm really excited to have you a part of the program, Putera.
Thank you. We're really excited to be here with you, Gary.
Yeah, so tell folks a little bit about you and about your background and about how come you become so passionate about lean, and I'd be excited to hear that.
So I currently work as a process and quality improvement specialist with a local government. I am currently the only sole resource dedicated to continuous improvement. My role is to help facilitate and support the operational team and administrative teams and management teams to implement the improvements, help them along the way and coach them through the process. And where need be, where there is that gap, I help support and bring them along the journey, ensuring that value is actually delivered to the customer. My background has been in process and quality improvement and creating SOPs, but really I've helped build a foundation for our lean framework and continuous improvement framework, and really focusing on lean being about the people, lean about respecting people, improving lives, and developing people. That's really when the magic truly happens, through the 2-second lean methodology, where that really uses a pillar where you educate everyone so that they learn to see waste so clearly that it will bug them and they'd want to fix it. And the second pillar to that is empowering them and giving them the actual time and capacity to make those improvements. And last, third pillar is highlight and showcase the before state and the after state of the improvement so that you have a visual indicator of where you've been and where you are right now.
Yeah, those are so fundamentally key, getting that culture of engagement. And I know culture is a kind of interesting word. I use it in the title of my book, but I've actually heard people who say they don't like that term, that word culture. I think of it as a mindset, and I think that's kind of how you do it. I call it culture, call it a mindset. I think of a culture as the way you do things all the time. It's just the way that it is, and that gets developed. You're in the public sector. I worked a lot in the public sector. First of all, I was a Canada Post employee for 38 years, so I got to see that side of it, which is where I got my background. What is it about the public sector? You said, you have your stake in the game. Is it because that you're involved in your community that is exciting you about making those improvements?
Yeah, naturally, the services that gets delivered, you see it. As I walk outside my door, I will see it. My neighbors will experience it too. So it really does impact lives around me. And that's what resonates with me and doing the work that I do. But at the same time, the internal customers, the folks who are helping with the heartbeat of the city, so to speak, that really energizes me.
Were you, like me, always kind of thinking of a better way to do something? What sparked this whole idea of wanting to be a lean advocate?
Yeah, so naturally, as a person, yes, I like to do things efficiently without less struggle. I've seen lean in the workplace. My previous life was actually close to a decade in pharmaceutical manufacturing setting. I worked as a validation specialist, and that line of work is essentially documenting processes, systems, equipment, and ensuring they are performing to their expectations and their standards. So in a sense, that ties in very nicely to lean, because we have a set standard. We expect it to perform as such in a consistent manner. So that mindset and, I guess, methodology has always been ingrained in me. The way that I go about doing things on a day-to-day basis is just the struggle-free way and make workflow. And when I first truly encountered lean formally through lean belt training, I took my yellow belt, then advanced to green belt. That's really when it clicked to me that, hey, this type of work actually creates impact, and there are certain tools that are helpful to individuals, remove the struggle from their own lives, allowing them to really enjoy work more, but also deliver value to their peers and the customers.
So do you have a favorite couple of tools? You talked about how empowering frontline and empowering people. Do you have a couple of go-tos that you'd say, hey, got to use these?
Yeah, I would say visual management, visual control. Honestly, actually, a recent example from my own life, my daughter was able to create a visual cue for herself. She was going to Chuck E. Cheese and she didn't want to forget her card. So she's still working on her writing, but she drew out Chuck E. Cheese, the mouse itself, and it was very intentional about the location as to where she placed that paper. So you see, it's already in our instinct to have visual management because we are very visual creatures. And to me, it's just so powerful, so simple. Keep it simple, make it visual. When you walk in the room, what I tell folks is you should not have to ask any questions. The answer should be where the question is asked. And that's one of the key phrases the 2-second lean companies have. And yeah, to me, it's just so powerful and everyone just gets it.
What I like about visual management is it should be driving behavior. And your daughter's example there is it drove the behavior for her to say, hey, I know what the result is that I want at the end of the day. Yeah, she wants to be able to go and get her favorite meal. 5S, which we often talk about, is one component of visual management. A lot of people think 5S is visual management. It's far beyond that. You would agree?
Yeah, totally. And everything in its place and everything having a home is so tremendously important so that you can, as you say, spot the abnormalities. That's how you detect when something will disrupt your flow.
Let's talk about engagement. I know employee engagement is something near to you. I see it on your posts on LinkedIn. And by the way, if you're not connected to Putera or myself on LinkedIn, make sure you get connected. We love having our connections. Putera, he does these little shorts that he talks about and will often involve some sort of visual management, but they're really about driving engagement. So talk a little bit about why engagement's important to you.
Yeah, engagement really is the driving force in continuous improvement and lean itself, because if you just remove that from the equation, it's going to fall apart. People will just think, oh, it's another corporate initiative. It's just to help with the bottom line of the business. It's just a cost-cutting measure, when in fact, it's not. Pitfall, I would say, with how people could traditionally or typically approach with continuous improvement and lean, they expect the improvements to happen, which leads to the outcome of results, but they skip that vital piece. It's like putting the cart before the horse. Yeah, you're going to move along, but you're going to struggle a lot. The first piece they're missing is that engagement, because if you don't have employees involved in the process, having lean or continuous improvement pushed onto them rather than done with them, that's where it really all falls apart. And what I'll highlight is one thing that Tom Hughes, the author of Improvement Starts With I, uses in his book, where a lot of the times we just throw tools at people and expect it to work, or find it a struggle that it's not working, it's not moving along. That's really because the tools have nothing to hang on to. And what helps hold those tools is culture. Back to our initial discussion here, culture can either be deliberately built and nurtured, or the leaders themselves accidentally created through the values and beliefs and the behaviors that they exhibit on a day-to-day basis. The frontline staff really own the process, that they are really having a sense of ownership. And in the end, yes, you have process improvement as a product, but to me, it's actually just a byproduct, because what you're really creating is that trust, right? But also the sense of ownership for that struggle they're having, the problem-solving process that they undertook, but the implementation, the solution itself. That's how you really would sustain continuous improvement. And it just acts as a positive feedback loop on itself.
If you're enjoying this episode of Mic Drop Insights and Lessons from CI Thought Leaders, be sure to like, subscribe, add your comments. We'd love to hear them. So what kind of resistance do you get? Obviously, if you're a team of one and you need to be, obviously influencing different pockets of people at different times, what's the resistance that you see, and how do you deal with that?
So one of the top number one items is, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for lean, right? That's
Mm.
something that we always hear within the CI world. But that's why 2-second lean really resonates with me. For those not familiar with the approach, all the methodology asks of people to do is just find out what you're struggling with and just improve 2 seconds, that process by 2 seconds. You just start with 2 seconds. And the point of this is really to build the habit, right? Sure, in the beginning, you may be just cleaning, the sweeping as part of your 5S, but it's just like going to the gym, building that muscle, that continuous improvement, and expanding your lean goggles, so to speak, so that you build that habit, continue to practice it. And when the larger and more complex improvement opportunities or issues arise, that's really when you can execute and implement and deliver a huge impact.
What do you think leaders, be they public servant leaders or be business leaders, need to do? What's their top 3 things that you think that they would need to be doing if they want to develop that mindset of continuous improvement in their teams? Well, for the answer to that question, you're going to have to tune into part 2 of my conversation with Putera Camaro as he talks about leadership and how he sees leadership playing a vital role in creating that continuous improvement mindset and culture. And he has 3 key things that he likes to talk about. You're going to want to hear what those are.